Good Monday morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by the Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Joe Everett. Well, currently 38 degrees outside this morning, and over the weekend here at the farm, we got about 1.7 inches of rain sitting in the rain gauge, which will definitely help replenish that topsoil moisture. Now let's check in for an update for the beneficial ownership information filing from Dusty Sonnenberg.
Well, if you've been following along with the BOI filings with FinCEN, that's the beneficial ownership information with the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, it's been a bit of a hot potato among the court. Now, just 3 days after the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit reinstated a rule requiring businesses, including farms, to file beneficial ownership information, that same court has now reversed itself, giving businesses a reprieve from filing requirements. The Fifth Circuit on Thursday issued a new order to expedite a hearing on a case out of Texas tied to beneficial ownership information, and in so doing, the Fifth Circuit vacated its own ruling from back on Monday of last week. Essentially, the court vacated the federal government's motion to stay a preliminary injunction against enforcing the Corporate Transparency Act, and under the latest reversal by the appeals court, a nationwide injunction out of Texas federal court in early December will continue to block the Treasury Department from enforcing the act. So the court decisions are now happening so fast, the university extension offices and others in the media are just catching up with what issues are detailed and are in date and out of date. So at last report, we had said that you had a 2-week extension to file by January the 13th rather than the original date of January the 1st. Well, the court's latest decision now reinstates the nationwide injunction blocking the burdensome beneficial ownership information reporting requirements for small businesses while the court fully considers the government's appeal. It also nullifies a previous Fifth Circuit order that allowed the government to begin enforcing the CTA and BOI reporting requirements. So the bottom line is, as of this newscast, the requirement to file the BOI with FinCEN is on hold. However, as we have seen, that is subject to change.
Hey, thanks, Dusty, for that update. Well, Trump threatens to take back Panama Canal control. Reports say President-elect Donald Trump threatened to reassert U.S. control over the Panama Canal. FarmDoc says he accused Panama of charging excessive rates to use the passage, which drew a sharp rebuke from Panama's president. Speaking to supporters in Arizona, Trump also said he wouldn't let the canal fall into the wrong hands, warning of potential Chinese influence on the passage. Reaction from South American experts say Trump's stance is baffling, as Panama's president is considered to be a pro-business conservative who has made a lot of overtures to show that he wants a special relationship with the United States. The Panama Canal is a critical choke point for U.S. agriculture and the overall economy, says Dennis Rodat of Farm News Media. 72% of all cargo transiting the Panama Canal is either coming or going to the United States, including a substantial portion of U.S. agriculture exports. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at today's weather after this.
Did you know soybeans' #1 customer is animal agriculture? That includes Ohio's beef farms. Research from the Soy Checkoff found that U.S. beef operations use over 1.3 million tons of soybean meal every year. That's the meal from about 55 million bushels of U.S. soybeans. Essential protein, energy, and amino acids. High-quality feed for heart-healthy beef. Soybeans, feeding the industry that feeds us. Brought to you by Ohio's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
So many things that can have an impact on agriculture are out of the farmer's control. Yet when the weather doesn't cooperate, markets go lower, or equipment breaks down, the farmer blames themselves. Hi, I am Nathan Brown, a Highland County farmer and a member of the Ohio Farm Bureau Board of Trustees. If you or someone you know is struggling with stress on the farm, text 4HOPE to 741-741 or go visit gotyourbackohio.org. A message from the Ohio Farm Bureau Federation.
Today's weather brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
We've got a dry start to the week, but we've got cold air coming. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. As we step into the forecast here, we're going to be dealing with a lot colder air kicking off 2025. After the moisture that moved through yesterday, we're going to be precipitation-free through the day today. A little cooler than yesterday, but not cold by any stretch. Low pressure comes across Missouri and into Illinois overnight tonight, pushes rain into Ohio first through the day tomorrow. Well, actually, after midnight midnight tonight, and it does then continue as rain through probably sunset. Cold air is racing in, and I think that this precipitation may end as a few sloppy wet snowflakes, but I'm not looking for much here as we move past midnight into 2025. I will tell you that Wednesday, New Year's Day, is significantly colder, and we have some lake effect snow and flurry action, a lot of clouds, but not much else. Moving then forward, we see the cold air stay through the balance of the week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Secondary area of low pressure wants to come in Sunday late. Rain to start, but then I think cold air is here very quickly, being primed by the cold air that is in the finish this week. And so I'm looking for snow accumulations for Sunday night, Monday of next week. Could be a little bit dicey Monday morning. And then we are bitterly cold through the rest of next week. Mother Nature reminding us that it is January. Welcome to 2025. We're going to see a chill. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Well, November egg production is down 4%. U.S. egg production totaled $8.92 billion during November of this year, down 4% from last year. Production included 7.68 billion table eggs and 1.24 billion hatching eggs, of which 1.15 billion were broiler type and 90.3 million were egg type. The average number of layers during November totaled 376 million, down 3% from last year. November egg production per 100 layers was 2,374 eggs, down 1% from November of 2023. Total layers in the United States on December 1st, 2024 was 375 million, down 3% from last year. The 375 million layers consisted of 311 million layers producing table or market type eggs, 60.7 million layers producing broiler type hatching eggs, and 3.78 million layers producing egg type hatching eggs. The rate of layers per day on December 1st averaged 79 eggs per 100 layers, down 1% from December of last year. Egg-type chicks hatched during November of 2024 totaled 48.8 million, up 1% from November of 2023. While on the topic of eggs, will the prices decline as we move into 2025? Gary Crawford from the U.S. Department of Agriculture has more.
If you buy a lot of eggs, you no doubt are painfully aware of how much egg prices have risen over the course of 2024. They are up an average of 7.7% compared to last year.
And in 2025, we're forecasting them to increase by 11.4%.
Ouch. Agriculture Department economist Megan Schweitzer says you can blame most of the price hikes for eggs on bird flu, which has resulted in a drop in the number of egg-laying hens and, of course, a drop in egg production. And at the moment,
we're still seeing egg-laying flocks being affected by the avian influenza. And so that's going to continue to be one of the most volatile categories. If we continue to see outbreaks in flocks, then prices could continue to rise.
If outbreaks subside,
we could see prices decline.
But right now, the most likely forecast is for continued increases in egg prices. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Hey, thanks, Gary. Well, National Year-Round E15 sales ended up on the cutting room floor when the final stopgap government funding bill was passed. But the issue may have picked up momentum for 2025. E15 sales, including in the summer driving season, were a part of the earliest stopgap bill and pulled when it failed to gain GOP traction. But the mere fact it was in the first bill may mean it picks up speed for next year. American Farm Bureau's Joe Gilson.
I think this issue of getting year-round E15 sales has been an issue that the ethanol and farm community has worked on for the past 15 years, and I don't think it's ever got this close.
8 Midwest states won EPA approval for year-round E15 sales after several years of summertime waivers, but it's taken House and Senate bills to jumpstart the push for national year-round sales. Now, Gilson says the stopgap may have just provided the needed spark.
We're really close. Corn and oil states are aligned. Democrats and Republicans are aligned. So I do think it's just a matter of time, but we're still going to have to press early on in this next Congress to get it fixed by the summertime driving season in 2025.
Gilson predicts with bipartisan support being in the first stopgap and earlier bills by Representative Adrian Smith and Senator Deb Fischer of Nebraska, year-round E15 could prevail early in the new year. Also, U.S. agriculture is bracing for a potential work stoppage at East and Gulf Coast ports that could greatly disrupt American red meat exports. Contract negotiations between the International Longshoremen's Association and the U.S. Maritime Alliance broke down in mid-November over issues related to automation and have shown little progress over the past month. The two sides reached a tentative agreement on wages in early October and temporarily extended those existing labor agreements. However, the contract extension will expire on January 15th. The U.S. Meat Export Federation says the uncertainty is already impacting red meat exports. U.S. Meat Export Federation President Dan Hallstrom says ocean carriers are announcing surcharges related to the potential strike, and exporters are forced to look where possible to divert shipments to other ports. Approximately 45% of waterborne U.S. pork exports ship out of East and Gulf Coast ports, and on the beef side, that is a total of 30%. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at the grain analysis and your overnight markets after this.
In a time of tight margins when every penny counts, could you be saving more on your monthly energy bill? Ohio Farm Bureau is here to help members get competitive electric and natural gas supply prices through its Energy Savings Program. Participants save an average of 10% on their rates. Let Ohio Farm Bureau help you take the guesswork out of energy savings. Request your free bill analysis at ofb.ag/energy program. Savings not guaranteed. Actual savings may vary.
Nearly 90% of farmers say that financial worries, constantly changing market conditions, and other uncontrollable variables take a toll on their mental well-being. Add in the weather and family dynamics, well, it's a lot to handle alone. But did you know farmers and their families can receive free confidential services from licensed professionals? Support is available 24/7 to help with the challenges you face. Look for Farm Family Wellness Alliance under the Resources tab at farmfoundation.org. Take care of yourself. Your well-being matters.
It's now time for today's grain analysis, and that is brought to you by Louis Dreyfus. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished on Friday with a bit of a whimper, but I guess we can't be too surprised as we take a look at the market information that we were trading late last week. It was a little bit few and far between. On Thursday, we came out of the post-Christmas holiday bump on a very nice note. Double-digit gains in beans, corn, and wheat were up as well. Could not follow through on that on Friday. Had corn finishing fractionally mixed. Beans were down about 7 to 8 cents, and the wheat markets were anywhere from 1 to 5 higher. There were not a lot of headlines last week. Probably the biggest headline on Friday was weekly export sales. The numbers, to be honest, weren't bad. The problem is we expected not bad numbers, and when you gauge the sales report to expectations, we barely made it into the low end of expectations, especially on soybeans. So I think that was part of the disappointment, and here we are trading again low volume this week after last week, low volume trade. A little bit different this week. There's not as many people that take off for the entirety of the week, but with the New Year's Day holiday going right in the middle of the week, it will interrupt things a bit. The trade this week, full day of trade for Monday, full day of trade for Tuesday, no overnight trade Tuesday night, no trade Wednesday, and we don't see the markets open back up till Thursday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. So there will be a nice wide open window, but I think we get back to it pretty doggone quick as we move through the rest of the week. Interestingly enough, energy markets closed stronger on a Friday. The Dow and Nasdaq didn't really put together a whole lot. Dow was off almost 400 points through the day. And so I think we're starting off with a mixed call as we look at these markets. Again, low volume can lead to high volatility. We'll see whether that is truly the case as we get through this week. Otherwise, weather, that's probably the biggest story in agriculture this week. It's going to turn cold, especially as we flip the calendar into 2025. I'm Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Looking at your overnight markets, brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. March corn $4.55 up a penny. May corn $4.62 up a half. January soybeans $9.80 3/4 up 3/4. March soybeans $9.90 1/4 up a half. March wheat $5.49 up 2 1/2. Looking at livestock from yesterday's close, December live cattle $193.50 up 72 cents. February live cattle $190.65 up 55 cents. February lean hogs $84.15 down 5 cents. April lean hogs $89.52 up 27 cents. March feeder cattle 260.55, up $1.05, and April feeder cattle 261.05, up $1.02. This is the Ohio AgNet.